One of the most revealing things in the heavily redacted Epstein files that have been disclosed, there's still 3 million plus more that haven't, is what the Department of Justice apparently does not want us to see, right? The Epstein Files Transparency Act, passed with only one dissenting vote in both houses of Congress, signed by Donald J. Trump, is very clear. Redactions should only be used to protect the identities of survivors and not the reputations of anyone involved. But now that members of Congress are starting to view the unredacted files, it's clear the Justice Department redacted a lot more than that. Like all the black ink on this file posted to social media by Congressman Ro Khanna today, Khanna says it redacts the name of a businessman and convicted sex offender who allegedly had ties to former Prince Andrew. Khanna also posted this email. He says the redactions black out the name of a political figure, someone bragging to Jeffrey Epstein he got more votes in Iowa than Jeb Bush did. He or she got more votes in Iowa than Jeb Bush did. Here's another, a redacted list of names, including the names of some people like Trump, who have denied any knowledge of Epstein's sexual crimes before his conviction. Khanna says the redactions here obscure the first name of billionaire Les Wexner, of course, who had a long-standing relationship with Epstein. There's this one posted by Congressman Dan Goldman yesterday. It references a phone conference that Trump's attorney arranged for Trump and another person instead of a depo. Okay, and then a whole bunch of stuff of what they discussed. Then right after the words, following was discussed, huge black box. Now, again, of course, it's impossible for us to know what's behind those big black boxes. And being named in the Epstein files does not necessarily indicate criminal wrongdoing. There's literally thousands and thousands of people named. But there's a big question here, which is what exactly is going on? Like, why did the Justice Department make those redactions? Are we going to see what's under them? And are we going to see the rest of the files? Tara Palmeri is an investigative journalist who writes today in Vanity Fair. Epstein's ghost is apparently calling all the shots at Trump's White House. Lisa Rubin's an MS Now senior legal reporter, and they join me now. First, just on this kind of meta issue of the redactions and how it's playing out, let me start with you, Tara, because there is something interesting to me karmically here, which is I am reminded of Donald Trump's first campaign in 2016, where he was incredibly aided by a hack of an inbox of John Podesta. And part of what aided him in that campaign was that there is a kind of thrilling sense of discovery that comes by going through an inbox. And it doesn't all come out at once. When there's a ton of files, a few days go by and then someone, oh, wait a second, this is kind of interesting and newsworthy. This is kind of interesting and newsworthy. And that entire news cycle just went and went and went. It was done by the Russians. We have criminal indictment of that. It enormously helped him. And part of what I took away from your piece is like, they're kind of on the other side of that right now. Because every day, someone finds something new that's genuinely interesting and newsworthy.
Exactly, or it implicates someone that's in their cabinet. I mean, the latest is Dr. Oz invited Jeffrey Epstein to his Valentine's Day party in 2016, 8 years after Jeffrey Epstein went to prison for soliciting a minor for prostitution, as if a minor could be a prostitute. But, you know, we've got Howard Lutnick, who President Trump doesn't really care to find out why he was still going to Jeffrey Epstein's island in 2012. Again, after he was convicted as a sex offender in 2008. Every single day, we start to see a more clear picture of Jeffrey Epstein's world and the web and how it collides with President Trump. But as we know, we could know even more if it wasn't all redacted. We don't know what we don't know, right? I mean, we're just looking through what we know, and what we know, based on what we've seen so far, is pretty revealing. So imagine what's actually behind those blocks of text. What did President Trump really do? I have an idea of who he met with because I've heard from this attorney who wanted to depose him, and instead he agreed to have a conversation with him. But we need to know what he said. That is important for the American people to know what the President of the United States revealed about a notorious sex offender. I mean, he knows more than what he's telling the press.
Yes, that he again had an established, long-standing relationship with, friendship with, partnership, however you want to characterize and describe. Wrote him the birthday note, right? Like gave a quote to a magazine reporter about, boy, he likes his women and he likes them real young. The other part of this too, Tara, is
a decade-long friendship.
Yes, Trump is on the record in the Fox News interview we play it all the time. I'm not going to play it here. Basically, he's asked, like, are you going to release this file, this file, this file, MLK, JFK, Jeffrey Epstein? He says, yes. He goes, that one less so. That one maybe not that one, because there's a lot of stuff out there. We've got the quote from Marjorie Taylor Greene who says, basically, it's going to hurt the reputations of folks. And what we are seeing is it is hurting the reputation of a lot of people. We've just got breaking news that Kathy Ruemmler, a very prominent attorney who was the White House counsel for Barack Obama, who was a counsel at Goldman Sachs, is leaving her position there based on the fact that what emerges in these emails is a long-standing and pretty chummy relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, and Chris, I want to say that what is most, I think, difficult about Kathy Ruemmler's long-standing association with Jeffrey Epstein isn't just that they are friendly or that they're having dinner together or even that he's buying her Hermes purses or Fendi coats. What's really problematic about it is that over a course of about 5 to 6 years, she is providing him with what looks to be legal advice at a time where he was not only not a retained client of her then law firm, but she was not publicly representing him. And yet, on a privilege log and ongoing civil litigation brought by certain victims of Jeffrey Epstein against the estate, Kathy Ruemmler's name appears more than 500 times in attorney-client communications, meaning the estate itself was the judgment, was the judge of who Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys were. And according to them, Kathy Ruemmler was among them. And that is what I think is really problematic. Not the relationship socially between them, but the fact that, like Brad Karp, she was behind the scenes providing legal and strategic advice to him.
And of course, that legal and strategic advice is a huge part of this story because none of this probably develops in the way that it does over the very long course that it does, in which we think hundreds of women and girls were assaulted and preyed upon. If he does not get the high-powered legal help that he gets back in 2006 and gets the deal. The other thing that emerges here, Tara, and this is a little hard for me to kind of talk through while being scrupulous about standards, but I'm going to try here. So there are a bunch of things that fly around these files that are allegations that are not corroborated, and we're not going to show them because they're not corroborated, and we can't corroborate them, and they're lurid allegations, and we want to be responsible. But what is clear from this isn't, I'm not talking about the content of them. What is clear is that what it looked like from the outside, which is that they promised to release the files and then they frenetically went through them all. And then they prepared a bunch of documents flagging to the boss and to Pam Bondi, here's every time Donald Trump's in there, and here's what he's accused of, and here's the stuff that might. They did that. We've got the files now with PowerPoint presentations and emails they're sending, and then they decided not to release it. So it sure looks, based on the files we have, that they were doing basically exactly what it looked like from the outside. Is that your read of it?
I mean, we know that there were people working round the clock in the spring, FBI agents, to redact his name just to respond to one of Bloomberg's Freedom of Information requests. So I can only imagine what they were doing. They were probably using those redactions and replicating it to release these files to the American people. But yeah, we just don't know. And they were friends for so long. I do think that President Trump is lucky in the sense that their friendship sort of predates email, and he's not really much of an emailer anyway. He doesn't use a lot of text exchange. And so, we know a lot about Epstein's relationships after 2008, after 2004, when email was really used. But even now, President Trump doesn't really use email. He's just started to get into text messaging. But if we only had that in the 90s, imagine what we would know now about his relationship.
That is actually a great meta point about what we do and don't know from the files. It's like the old joke about, like, if you lose your keys, look under the lamplight, because, like, that's where the light is. But that might be, like, what we have are the people who email a lot, right? That is one part of the story of these relationships.
Yes, and guess what? Jeffrey Epstein was first and foremost among them. But I want to go back to something that Tara was talking about earlier about an email that suggests that in lieu of a deposition, that Trump sat down.
This is the Goldman one. Yep.
Correct. That someone sat down with Donald Trump and got a download from him that is now redacted. Even if that document were attorney-client privileged, and I don't believe it is for reasons I won't bore our viewers with, the fact that members of Congress were then allowed to view it unredacted, that puts the lie to the fact that it's privileged. If it is in fact privileged, nobody should get to look at that document. And that makes me wonder what's really underneath that, and is the account that Trump gave to the person I believe is a plaintiff's attorney, is that account consistent with other representations that Trump has made both publicly and contemporarily, but also to people like Palm Beach Chief of Police Michael Ryder?
that is a document that I have been thinking about all week, and I think we're going to do it on the show tomorrow. That document of the call that he made to the Palm Beach Chief of Police Tara Palmeri and Lisa Rubin. There's a lot more we're going to do about this, but thank you both tonight. Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
That was another episode of the Tara Palmeri Show. Thank you again for tuning in and for caring about this issue. I know so many of you do. I want to ask you to follow, subscribe, rate, share this show with your friends. It's how we keep making sure that it gets pushed into the algorithm and people see it and it continues to live on and survive. Of course, you can go to tarapalmeri.com. You get my exclusive reporting straight to your inbox by signing up for the red letter, becoming a paid subscriber. You'll get great reporting and you'll support independent journalism. I want to thank my producer, Eric Abenate. I want to thank Abby Baker, who does my social media, booking, research. She does it all. I want to thank Adam Stewart on the graphics. And I want to thank Dan Rosen, my manager. See you again soon.